Hello everyone, my name's Shaine. I'm a drama therapist and I work in the NHS in an adult learning disability community service. So my career journey so far, I did a BA honours degree in acting for my undergraduate, and then I have been, at the same time as that, I was teaching drama and directing youth theatre productions and musicals. And then when I started to explore the world of drama therapy, I realised I needed a bit of experience in some kind of social care field. So I began working as an LSA at a specialist school for children and young adults with additional needs. And then while I was there, I kind of really affirmed that I wanted to become a drama therapist. And I started volunteering at a charity called Hearts Inclusive Theatre. And they work with children and young adults from disadvantaged backgrounds. And then I began my master's degree in drama therapy at Anglia Ruskin University. And after that, I went straight into employment in the service I'm in now, the NHS Adult Community Learning Disability Service. So a day in the life of a drama therapist, as you can see, there's quite a lot of things that we do. So the process is kind of the process that someone will be met with when they're referred to us. So we would meet the person, we would then have a drama therapy assessment to see if they enjoy working in a creative way and if we think we could work together. And then we would have our regular sessions, which we would review throughout that, and we would ultimately bring therapy to an end when we felt necessary. We also have a lot of meetings. So we have meetings as an arts therapies team, but also meetings with social workers, GPs, or other professionals involved in the person's care. We have supervision. So we are required to have managerial and clinical supervision to make sure we're practicing safely, to address any safeguarding concerns. And then we also have any kind of regular liaison with the support systems of parents, carers, or the service user themselves, which is usually in the form of phone calls. Then we have our admin. So there's a lot of admin to do. There's always clinical notes after each session, reports throughout the process. There's letters to send with details of our session dates. We also have our risk assessments and care plans. And then we have our therapy goals and outcomes. And then finally, we have the actual sessions themselves. So, of course, it's a case of setting up the room, so setting up the resources, because our resources are kept in a cupboard in our service. So we get them all out and prepare that. And then when the service user arrives, we'll have a bit of a check-in. So just see how they're feeling, how the week's been. And then we kind of move into a warm-up. So although there is a structure, it might not be as strict as what is written here. So the warm-up isn't necessarily, dancing around. Sometimes it's just getting into that creative mindset. You might have had a busy journey in, so let's start bringing our attention into the room. And then we would have our bridge in. So our bridge in is kind of thinking about the themes that are coming up recently, or the themes that we might be working on in the session, and just starting that creative process in a really small way. And then our main event, which usually is kind of the meat of the session, usually the reason why the person's been referred, but it also could be just whatever that service user is bringing to the session on that day. Our bridge out, again, is just easing out of that process. We're aware that the session's coming to an end. We might start thinking about how we can come out of that. And usually the bridge out is where we're reflecting on what happened in the session, making connections between the creative process and the service user's personal life. And then grounding. So before the service user leaves, making sure that they are ready to leave the space, that those really raw emotions aren't still feeling as intense. So it might involve some kind of breathing or just some kind of regulation. So this is the drama therapy room. It changes from time to time depending on the service user's needs, but ultimately everything's kind of laid out around the room with a nice space in the middle of the room for movement, but also a table and chairs in case we need to use them for anything that we do sitting down. So some of the things in the room, you can see there's the puppets, there's a sand tray, we have some Lego out, some pens and paper. We have a doll's house, we have emotional resources, so kind of emotion stones with faces on, some sensory materials. So it's quite varied in there, and things for everyone to use. So the rewards and challenges of this job, I think the most rewarding part for me is the regular opportunity to be creative, not just in the individual sessions, but also as a team, thinking of new ways we can work, meeting new people and building and nurturing strong therapeutic relationships is, again, one of my favorite parts. It's always nice to just meet people from different backgrounds, people with different experiences, and to just build that from the ground up, having no prior knowledge of the person or having no experience of their personal lives, and learning about them from them as well. Seeing progress and improvements in someone's mental health and well-being. It's just rewarding to know that you contributed something to that person, and also to see that person grow in other ways across the period of time that we're working together. And I really enjoy working in a multidisciplinary team and receiving support from them. There's always someone to talk to. There's always someone that you can run something by. And it just creates a really nice working environment, working in a team for me. But there are some challenges. So I personally find the admin side of things really challenging. Always writing notes and sending letters, I find that quite hard. There's because we're in the NHS, there's guidelines and timeframes that we are required to stick to for safety reasons, and also just to ensure the consistency across the trust. And that can be quite challenging because sometimes the timeframe might not necessarily feel right for that service user or feel right for the process. So that can be really difficult. And then we're also quite reliant in our service on the service users' support systems for communication, and also for getting them to come to the sessions sometimes. So as a learning disability service, some of our service users require support to come to the sessions, or to take phone calls, or keep a track of the session dates. And sometimes those support systems aren't as reliable as we would hope they would be, or sometimes they just fall apart, or life happens and there's miscommunication that happens. So that can be quite difficult as well. So if I had any advice to my younger self, I would say it's never too late to change your mind. I wanted to be an actor and a performer for a really long time. And then I kind of felt a pressure to kind of keep that mindset because I told everyone that's what I wanted to do. But actually, it is never too late to change your mind. And changing my mind was the best thing I did for myself, and to kind of ignore that external pressure and the pressure I put on myself. Follow your interests and the rest will follow. I think it's really easy to, it was really easy for me anyway, to kind of fall into the mindset of everyone's doing something really academic at school in GCSEs, and I just wanted to do drama and act things out and dance and sing, and kind of ignoring that typical path that lots of people were following had really helped me to kind of feel fulfilled in my job, because I followed my interest and I found something that fit me exactly as I am, authentically. And then I'd say focus on today. I think when I was younger, when I was at school, I was always thinking about what's my future going to look like? What if I don't like this job? What if I commit to this thing and it all goes wrong? But I think focusing on the things that are happening every day, and the people you meet in passing, and the opportunities you can create for yourself and the experience that you can gain on a day-to-day basis has been really important for me in this job in particular. Okay, so for more information, you could visit the British Association of Dramatherapy, where you'll see information about all different types of dramatherapy in the NHS and elsewhere, what we do, and who we might work with. You could also visit the NHS Health Careers Dramatherapy page, which is more specific to the role of a dramatherapist in the NHS and also advertises jobs. And you could also visit the NHS England videos on YouTube. There's one called What is Dramatherapy, and one called What is it like to experience dramatherapy, which gives a view from the service users themselves. So thank you very much for listening to my presentation. I hope you have enjoyed it.